If indeed Nana Akufo-Addo said this, then he is a very double standard human being.
How do you mean?
Who can never be trusted in the history of Ghana.
Tell me why.
I was in for Yamama Kwaba and Famra Solid TV so. I feel no join here and subscribe and watch a video no. Now I was here for a very quick one. In a year remu NPP ne NDC so akache ensem bia betodwa e wo se mamutibi na mo chema dwen fa ho enche yes mbetia na nipa ba ko a ososi NPP amanyuku no so pa asisi ya no yebeka se oye 9th med ma NPP amanyuku no eye Malik Basintali ono na ye deputy communication director edema NDC amanyuku no na in fact papa we eye obi asisi ya no said de we see match NPP boot for boot, especially communicators. I'm sorry, I'm call radio so any TV so now omutimi communicate on behalf of the party no. And yasem ketu akra na ebusuya na nsem wo yanya ntie bi say NPP for say ombeko TV so anaso ombeko radio so na say eye Malik Basintali in fact omu kan bibia say enya de so ombeko omu nko da say Malik Basintali nko ade a omu nko na ebusuafo we na ye rewremu a na yeduaduamu a na ye de aswanto fom a na yebusa na ye hu se ampa dentia NPP for person be match anaso mo ne Malik Basintali ebeko radio so anaso be on set abomu no ye hu dentia Dannise miracle Aboagye ono so abekasa wabekasa pa na wone Malik Basintali ehia 1-on-1 in fact said ye enkomotwetwe no so koye no ebusua men se bre yenko na yenkotie said the enkomotwetwe no
so let's say granted
yes,
okay, granted
right,
that all of these things did not happen,
right.
Bawumia made a promise, it didn't happen, but his boss, the president, says blame me, I take full responsibility for what has been able to what the government has been able to achieve and what the government has not been able to achieve. So stop blaming Bawumia. And Akufo-Addo himself said it. He said, I take full responsibility. So, some of the list of things or the litany of things that you're saying that Bawumia went to promise it didn't happen, Nana Akufo-Addo said, blame me. Don't blame Bawumia for it.
If indeed Nana Akufo-Addo said this, then he is a very double standard human being.
How do you mean?
Who can never be trusted in the history of Ghana.
Tell me why.
Didn't you listen to Akufo-Addo saying that there are people who are making attempts to run away from the ship? They were all parts. Yes. And nobody should make that attempt.
That's true.
So what has
the MPP
absolutely? So what has changed now? So if indeed he said this, that man is an incredible human being, and he's double standards. He says one thing in the morning and says another, and we cannot trust him. If Nana Akufo-Addo at his age who will say something like this, I'll be highly disappointed in him because he won all the presidential aspirants and said nobody should attempt running away. They were all in cabinet. They were all in the ship. If today the ship is sinking and you want to be smart, like Bawumia today is behaving like Judas Iscariot, and you want to abandon your boss and run away, then God will punish you. Virtually, that's what Nana Akufo-Addo said. And so what has changed? We cannot exempt Bawumia.
You won't accept that.
We cannot exempt Bawumia from our pain. We cannot exempt you from the hardships because in 2019, it was President Akufo-Addo who said this is the economic whiskit. This is the man who is turning around the fortunes of the economy. In fact, by then, in 2018, the good policies of the NDC started materializing. And the growth rate, if you remember, in 2017 hit 8% because of the things President Mahama had brought on board. Yet Bawumia came on board and all he decided to do was to start borrowing. Why? When Bawumia mounted the podium and said, look, I have arrested $1. Did he say Nana Akufo-Addo had arrested $1? He said, I have arrested. And the key is with the IGP. Was that not what he said? What happened to the $1? Has the $1 finished serving his jail sentence? Has the $1 finally escaped prison?
So the MPP
what
will tell you.
What happened to the prison guards
so Malik, the
who
MPP,
were put in place to check the $1 in prison?
So Malik,
that's the question we've been asking.
The MPP will tell you that
right.
Let's even accept without admitting that we have failed as MPP. But John Mahama is not an option.
Why?
Because John Mahama has been tried and tested. He was voted out because he didn't do a good job. Why must we bring him back?
Okay, so
allow us to continue.
Okay, so let me ask you.
Why do you think there's no validity in that kind of argument?
You buy petrol, right?
Yes, I do.
Between buying petrol at 13 cedi a gallon and buying petrol at 75 cedi, which one will you prefer?
Obviously, I want to go back to 4.
Between changing $1 at 4 cedi 20 pesos and changing $1 at 16 cedi, which one will you prefer?
Well, it's quite obvious that I want to go back because it's cheaper.
So will you want to choose if you were to make a choice in these two circumstances?
Yeah, but Bawumia, the MP will tell you, has more credibility.
Credibility.
If he says,
credibility
give me the opportunity and let me take over. Give me the steer, let me take over and I'll prove to you.
So he has credibility in selling petrol at 75 cedis. He has credibility of selling, exchanging the dollar at 16 cedis. He has credibility of selling a bag of fertilizer at 800 cedis. Yeah, how much did you use to buy a bag of rice in 2016? 80 Ghana cedis.
The election is about the future. It's not about the past.
Absolutely, but the election is about today too. It's not about if I don't live to see tomorrow, how do I vote in the coming 2024 election? And so if you have anything to do, it's best you do it now. Because this election is about comparing track records. Fortunately, we have two people who've been at the helm of affairs.
Do it.
Right.
Unless you give him the steer.
Why can't he do it?
Unless you make him the main guy.
But why can't he do it?
The arrowhead. Otherwise, I can't. He says he's helpless.
He's helpless.
But I said it time and again.
So does he agree that all what he was doing in 2016 were lies? Because in 2016, he said he was going to stabilize the dollar. In 2017, he said he had arrested the dollar. In 2016, President Nana-Addo told us that he was bringing Bawumia on board to salvage the economy. So if Bawumia wants us to agree that indeed he can't do anything, there are two things he needs to do. He needs to tell us that, number one, in 2016, Ghanaians, I lied. I was only lying. I was being a braggadocious man. I was only saying the things I was saying because I wasn't in power and I needed your vote, so I was deceiving you. Today, I've seen the reality, so I don't have control. Or he needs to tell us that Nana-Addo is so wicked and insensitive, and all what he tells Nana-Addo, he doesn't listen, and Nana-Addo has decided to incur all these taxes on us. And when Bawumia was saying we'll move from taxation to production, Nana-Addo said no, infringe pain, keep putting pain on the Ghanaian people. These are the two things he needs to do.
The other issue,
after he does these things,
right,
they'll be willing to listen to him.
The other issue which has also come up, Malik, is that, and the MPP said it time and again, for Bawumia himself has said it, he says, why must we as Ghanaians vote for somebody who can only do one term? President John Mahama can, at least per the constitutional architectural arrangement, he can't do 2 terms unless something else happens tomorrow. Bawumia, if you give me 2 terms, if you give me 1 term, I can come and renew my social contract with you and I will be more sensitive to your worries and your problems because I want a 2nd term. You give John Mahama 1 term, he wouldn't care because he really doesn't have to come back to you for you to renew his mandate. So he believes, and the Dr. Mahmoud Ba believes, he's a safer pair of hands to hand power over to, and not John Mahama.
I've heard that. In fact, that is Bawumia's 3rd policy.
Yes.
The first policy is vote for me because I'm a Muslim. The second policy is that I'm a Northerner, and the third policy is that
policy.
The policy is
that
that's his 3rd policy.
It's just a political argument.
The 3rd policy of Dr. Bawumia is that vote for me because I can do 2 terms. Now that is even false. He hasn't studied President Mahama. President Mahama was president for only 4 years, right?
Yeah, yes.
All the things you see, all the beautiful projects you see today, were done within 4 years. Are you aware of that?
True.
Kotoka Terminal 3, sword was cut in 2014.
That's a fact.
By 2016, we cut sword for it.
That's a fact.
You remember?
That's a fact.
Market, sword was cut in 2014. By 2016, it was commenced and began operation in 2017. Kotokraba Market, President Mama cut sword for it in 2015. By 2017, it was operational. You remember?
Yeah.
Tamale International Airport, sword was cut in 2014. By 2017, it was fully operational. In fact, by 2016, the first batch flew to Mecca from the Tamale Airport, right?
Yeah.
So almost all the beautiful projects, Bank of Ghana Hospital, sword was cut in 2013. 2016, it was ready. In 2017, it commenced operation. The University of Ghana Medical Center, sword was cut in 2015. By 2017, it was ready for use. And by 2018, it commenced full operation. Rich Hospital, President Mama cut sword in 2013. And by 2015, he had commissioned it and it was added onto the Green Book. You remember? All these beautiful projects were done in 4 years. So a sensible president, a visionary president, a president who has Ghana at heart, does not need 8 years to develop the country. All you need is 4 years. And President Mahama has exhibited that he can develop this nation by virtue of all these projects I've mentioned. And again, a visionary president does not need so much funds to develop the nation. President Mahama had only 44 billion. And he did all the things you see today. Bawumia has borrowed over 780 billion. Nana-Addo Bawumia. Because Bawumia is fully in charge of the economy. Nana-Addo has told us that he is entirely clueless about the economy. And it's Bawumia who handles the affairs of the economy.
Women's Organizer of the NPP, the National Women's Organizer of the NPP, Kejim Fua, says Bawumia is not being listened to. He's not been heard.
So
when he advises the president doesn't listen.
Oh, okay. So
that's what Kejim Fua says.
So that's fine. That's fine. Those are their internal machineries.
Yes.
If they have decided,
so you don't care.
If they have decided to now insult Nana-Addo and disgrace him after all he has done for Bawumia, Nana Addo identified Bawumia when he was not even a politician. He was at the Bank of Ghana.
Okay.
Nana Addo said, look, you don't have a party card because you, Bawumia, your father was NDC. You yourself, you have traces of PNC and the rest. But we want to bring you on board. He identified the young man and brought him. Bawumia deceived Nana Addo, showed him fake board analysis of how he was going to arrest the dollar and capture the cedi. Today you are vice president and you are insulting the man that, look, he doesn't listen to you. Wow. Is this how Bawumia wants to pay the legacy of Nana Addo? Look, Bawumia will be a very terrible, bad, Malik, and a high betrayal.
Malik, you're insisting.
And I think that, look.
Before we took that break, there were two questions that I needed to ask you. One is, you talked about, in fact, you re-emphasized the former president's talk about the fact that all those who are saying that he's entitled to for only one term. And so it would not be advisable for Ghanaians to vote for him. He says within one term, if you are a president who is serious,
with foresight,
you know what you're about, you have foresight, you can do a lot. But then I asked, the same former president, some time back, I've forgotten exactly which year, but he talked about the fact that, look, we need to have a we need to have a conversation about how much time we give to our president. 4 years is not quite enough to do a lot. So how do you reconcile these two positions? I'm sure you've heard this comment already this morning. Monetary media, commentary.
I mean, anybody with foresight and anybody who has Ghana at heart will say what President Mahama said.
Right.
Because, of course, if he could do all these projects within 4 years, imagine President Mahama doing even 16 years.
But at the time, he said it wasn't enough.
I am saying that if President Mahama could do all these projects I've enumerated already, I don't want to repeat myself.
Yes.
Imagine President Mahama doing 8 years or 16 years.
Okay.
So any president with foresight will tell you that, look, I want to do a lot for these people. And remember that in 2014, in 2016, we had just discovered a new oil field, you remember?
Yes.
And we won the case. And so 3 oil fields came on board. In 2016, the sinking fund had just accrued over $250 million. In 2016, the GIF fund had accrued over $270 million. In 2016, the Ghana Stabilization Fund had accrued about $250 million. So many of the incomes and all the things we had worked around, especially even the resolution of Dumso, in 2016, we had brought power batches and Dumso was a thing of the past in 2016. And so, President Mahama was looking at a Ghana after resolving all these challenges and the way forward. Because, in fact, amidst these challenges, he gave us an airport, he gave us hospitals, he gave us schools, he gave us roads, he gave us water, he gave us lights, he gave us so many things. And now that these challenges are away, then he could imagine how he was going to fast track the country. In 2016, remember he brought on board Ayalolo, where we had the BRT buses. Ghanaian workers were supposed to use it. That was supposed to decongest the city and reduce traffic because we just simply drive to the BRT station, board the bus with a card, go to work, close, come back, and pick your car. That would decongest the city. 2017, MPP came and grounded all the buses. They destroyed the Ayalolo, the BRT lanes, and today, the BRT buses are...
You still haven't brought clarity to the question I asked.
So, if you
what
look
he said in the past,
what President Mahama said, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
If you looked at what President Mahama said, he was absolutely right. Because indeed, if you have foresight and you have vision, you will want to do. But this next 4 years is an opportunity for President Mahama to reset the country. And like I said, Ghana has been in tatters. Ghana is virtually in a ditch.
Yeah, but why wasn't it enough in the past? But now it's enough.
Why wasn't it enough when?
The past 4 years, which he said he would have wished he had more time because he didn't finish with what he was doing. Now he says he needs 4 years to be able to do that.
But I just told you that he needed 4 more years to protect a lot of the things he's done. I cited the example of the BRT bus.
So context.
So absolutely, I cited the example of the BRT buses. After President Mahama left office, they were grounded. Today you have over 40 of them seated at Achimota station. Go there and look at them. They've stolen some of the spare parts. Saglamehausen. After President Mahama left office, they abandoned them in the name of prosecuting some people. Today, people have stolen all the cables. The last time one of your sister media houses did a research there, we had cows sleeping in the rooms. Of recent times, even a member of the MPP, Kennedy Japan, has said that if they don't complete them, he will take Ghanaians there to go and sleep in there. You saw that. And so, President Mahama needed more time to continue developing whilst protecting his legacy. Look, how will you feel that you built e-blocks? Okay, let me cite this example. How will you feel as president that you built e-blocks that was supposed to recruit teachers and was supposed to give young people an opportunity of studying? How will you feel finding this government abandoning them? You remember the case of the Aflawo chief when he was pleading on Akufo-Addo to come and open an e-block for him. You remember? Akufo-Addo told him, disrespected him, arrogantly told him that if he had guts, he should go and open his own e-block. They've abandoned it. So President Mahama needed more time to protect the things he had already done whilst continuing his developmental agenda. And so he was right. Look, if you leave a legacy, Moro, you are host of Good Afternoon Ghana show. You have succeeded in lifting this show to a higher level. Then all of a sudden, the show is leaving your hands. How will you feel, especially to somebody you know that this person is clueless, this person is visionless, and this person will collapse the show? You feel pained. And that was why President Mahama made those statements. But you see, we are coming back. And inshallah, by the will of the Ghanaian people, President Mahama is coming back to become president.
Matthew Opoku
and this time around, all we are going to do is to progress, first reset the economy, and progress the direction of this country.
Matthew Opoku, everywhere he goes, has told the Ghanaian, the electorates, that if Ghana wants to bring back Dumso, they bring back Mahama. He said it time and again, everywhere he goes.
It was under Matthew Opoku Prempe's regime as energy minister that Otumfuo said his house appliances had been damaged as a result of the Dumso. And to quote Otumfuo, he said, the day you came to my palace and we were going to eat, the lights went out. My home appliances have been damaged. He napo. Yet, 10 minutes after the palace, he insulted Otumfuo, his own uncle. He said Otumfuo lied. He said there has never been Dumso. Meanwhile, Otumfuo said this before you. He was energy minister. So what has he got to say about that? So these are braggadocious, like I said, cheap talkers. In 2015, 2016, NDC resolved Dumso. Otumfuo himself was aware of it. Okay. And that was what Otumfuo said. Mwasama Dumso Aba. Right. As a result of your cluelessness and mismanagement. Okay. And it was under his same Napo's era as energy minister.
Let's now look at the real campaign. What I'm going to see differently from what you've done in the past.
We're going to see two things differently.
Okay.
We're going to see one man churning out policies and another man joking and looking for a car steer. We are going to see two things. One man defining how he's going to put Ghana back on track, and we are going to see another man going about saying we should vote for him because he's a Muslim, because he's a Northerner, because John Mahama has been president and has been president already. We are going to see two things from even the running mates. We are going to see another woman feeling the plight of Ghanaian women and giving them solutions, and another man who is going to be arrogantly insulting people and talking just cheapishly. In this coming election, President Mahama has been professing already a 24-hour economy that's going to create sustainable jobs for the unemployed Ghanaian youth there. Look, Moro, one deputy minister, a very corrupt deputy minister under this administration, said I was unemployed. And I said, yes, I'll be unemployed because Akufo-Addo has given the job that's meant for me to his daughter, Jen Kuruma. Baumia has given the job that was going to be meant for me to his in-law, Abu Ramadan, as deputy CEO. He has given another job that I would have gotten to his wife's father, Abu Ramadan, as ambassador. Even contracts I would have gotten. That minister has given some to his brother. And Nanado has given the remaining last contract, spare parts.
Malik, they are
That's me too. I would have gotten.
Is Ghanaian.
So that is why 1.8.
They all Ghanaian.
That is why 1.8 million. That is why more than 1.8 million Ghanaian youth are unemployed today. Because the national cake has become a family cake. And they are cutting the cake in family houses and not on the streets of